I am passionate about monotheism because I come from a culture where the emphasis on monotheism has been very, very great. I stem from a family that has been partly Christian, a line of the Catholic faith that's called Maronites in Lebanon, and Muslims, Sunnites from the Mohammedanic creed and understanding of life. Later on in life, I of course, also got into my doubts and started rethinking monotheism and the way of looking at life. And I stepped away, then I stepped back, and I stepped into the Old Testament, especially, read it in details, and put marks and notes so I could like read for myself what is it everybody's talking about of these stories and tellings and what can you say messages, contradictions, and so on. I've read the whole Quran and I have had studies in the New Testament as well because it is part of my legacy. But I also stepped away and tried to understand things from a humanistic perspective, like looking at religions as ideas that people has created over time to make sense of the universe. It's like the philosophical existential that we cannot avoid, and try to make sense of religions out of that perspective. And then I found myself back at the gates of these three religions, the monotheistic ones, because it's a very fine explanation we get into the existential philosophy about life, humans, that it's all psychology and it about our minds, how we think, creating the meaning out of everything, and so on. But it didn't really answer the questions. And they will tell you because there is no answers. And then you find that the answers they give you about there is no answers are not bulletproof. They cannot be proven either. Who tells you there are no answers? You are guessing because you don't want to admit that religions and the holy books are true. But what if these messages are actually like stars in the sky knocking on our minds and hearts and eyes every day? And so I stepped back to try to take another look and see the problems and the situations that a human can be in. Also, I try to turn my face towards the mythological stories of the Greeks, especially. I love these stories, and I really liked reading them in different ways, and I like the figures of the gods in them. These figures I, by the way, transformed into modern figures of heroes in the modern cinema, for instance, and comic books as well. And so I found myself idolizing these new modern faces of the old gods who has different values and abilities and can contradict and fight, but they are opposing an evil force. They are like a united force for good, opposing some evil forces who are definitely trying to tear things down. So even though they fight these old mythological figures, they get they get back and they get reconciled and walk on from that. So I couldn't really make sense of what to follow and what to believe in, and I had a series of experiences um, in my personal life and crisis that in many ways made me turn my face to the one God above everything else, not knowing what to fantasize, what to think, what to imagine. I can't imagine. I just said, and from my heart, um, repeated that I'm calling on you, the great supreme power, to show me and to help me. And many people does that, but what are they shown? They are only shown within the limits of their culture. So I found that maybe it helped me personally, and I found a way and a light, but it didn't answer the questions for many other people who does not get into the crisis I am in and need the help of that supreme power. Maybe if you want to make a joke of it, you can say it was the devil who led you further astray by answering your calls. You can see it that way as well. And so finally, I, I was left in a place in my mind and my thinking because this means a lot to me. I'm very serious about it. For many people, it doesn't matter. They just go around in the world saying, I don't want to even dwell on this mystery and try to understand it. I don't want to get into it. I refuse it. It's taking too much of my powers, and I can't get my head around it. I'm just going to live wherever I live, go doing the stuff I do, and I'm meant to do, and so be it. Many people are like that, and I completely understand them, really, because the other road is a jungle, maybe a maze, hermetically sealed maze that we cannot open or get out of. But I am persistent, and I know the passion. They call it the passion of the Christ. I have that too, and the passion of the Jewish sacrifice and proudness and stubbornness to keep holding on to Yahweh, and then the proud Muslim faith of repeating God's name and being passionate about it, even to death. I found this very compelling, very strong, very special, that there have been these stories about these special persons we call prophets, messengers. Um, One of the most known is the Christ, of course, who sacrificed himself. Whether you believe he's a God himself or he's a human that's giving the message of God, whatever. It's not that I'm discussing now. I'm just saying it's very compelling sacrifices these people made to make God's name appear and reappear and steadily stay in the hearts and minds among the people. You can call them crazy and you can call them out of their mind fanatics, and they were. They were so fanatically in love with that God, they were ready to give everything, even the limbs teared apart, killed by the lions and so on. This is not only, dear Christians, not only in your faith, you find it with the Mohammedans as well and his followers. They were persecuted for 10 years and they were killed in prisons, and they were taken into torture and so on. And the same with the Old Testament, dear Muslims. It's not only you who have this passion. You find it among the Jews who keeps holding on to the Torah, holding on to the light of the God given to them in these stories and the retellings of the prophets, and they take care of it. And they know that this is the blessings they've got. They have to fight for it through generations against a sea of hatred, tyranny, persecution, and so on. One of the famous stories is the Moses and the Pharaoh, but this has happened many times in the story of the Jews. So I felt myself compelled, and I got back, standing at the steps of these three religions, asking, where have I been and who am I, and why do I not really just find my way through or out of it? And so this way of thinking, and what can I say, the magnetic attraction that I got made me go back and try to dwell on them again. And I found myself not able to decide what is true, what is totally false. And I see it from the angle and perspective of people, of the scientific people, humanistic people, philosophers, who can say different things about these books and these monotheistic stories. And if you put it on a line from the left to the right, you can have poles. One pole is saying further extreme, saying these books are a creation of the devil. We have to look beyond them. They divide us. They take us astray. And the same extreme will say these are people who are fanatically old-fashioned and outdated. Science has taken over, and we are making leaps into the future that these people will fall behind of, these religious people. But on the other side, you will find them answering wherever you go, Mr. Scientist and Mr. Rich Man, and however you get into the sky, you will find God there waiting for you, and his creation there waiting for you, and new awesome stuff that will amazes you and show you your limitation. This is a very, very strong and compelling and easy answer. So what to do with all this? I am allowed to give myself to an idea like you are, and everybody else. I know we are in places of the world where we can choose our religion, but to a certain limit. Um, in other places, you can't even talk about these three religions together without having someone knocking on your door because they see it as false. And in other places altogether, you will find that you cannot even speak of any one of them before you get somebody on your door because they are manifested atheists or not religious at all. So they brought a lot of history with them, a lot of pushing forward and back, all in the name of the one true God. So what to believe in and what not to believe in. This is what I've been trying to passionately look into, and that's why I've been like thinking a lot and also putting it into some YouTube videos, that what is in these three religions that makes them prevail time after time and stay in the life of people. Because if you look at the old religions, they faded. Many of the nature religions were crushed by, if you go to Americas, by Christianity, and if you go to the Asian, by the Muslims, and if you go to the African, the same, Muslim and Christians. So many of the old nature religions fell because they were too simple, too crackling, not able to answer the questions the complicated life brought with it. And so the monotheistic religion stepped in at the right time, took over, or by a fight and exploration. And behind all that, you had the Jewish faith, which also very extremely monotheistic, trying to preserve itself, strengthen itself, build up a barrier against its enemies, and trying to get through. Maybe at the same time, they're using these things against each other, their power against each other. We have seen that in history too, but this is not my angle at the moment. It's like how they keep giving us messages that stands the test of time. This is what have been like attracting me again and again, because when I look around me, I see people can go straight and not straight, far away from the three monotheistic religion, but they have them with them, in them, beside them. It's in the cultural background somehow. And some people get awakened and go back to one of them. I've seen people who are living in Christian and Western communities go back and take up Christianity with a wholeheartedness that you will get surprised by. The same I've seen with Muslims who have been communists or just living on the surface or maybe against religion, take a new approach and find the light. And I know from the Jewish people I talk to that same happens to them. They were like Jewish just by culture, and then they became aware and started practicing or becoming part of the Jewish religious way of looking at it. And these people put their videos online and talk about it, and some of them I've talked to personally too. So I know this. And so where am I? I have been there. I've been a passionate religious Muslim, studying in depth the idea of the one God and the practice of it in life, the stories of the Prophet and the law in the Muslim rule. Then I did the same with Christianity for 10 years, tried to be a passionate member of the Christian communities in the West, where I am, of course, both in touch with the Catholic and the Protestant movements, and also some other movements like the Baptists. And so I felt also that big passion, that great value they are carrying with them in their life, how it shapes them and how it makes them try to live according to the text and sending their prayers to the one God, to the light, to help people and to spread the love out among them. And I've not tried to live as a Jew because I don't think it's possible, but even if it is, I have an intellectual friend who converted into Judaism. I think she had Jewish background from the beginning. Many Jews don't like to talk about it. It's because you need to have Jewish background to become really Jew, otherwise you will be second rate or third rate. Judaism is not a religion that tries to convert people into it. They're just trying to show people the way and show that they are the chosen one, the others are to be following in the name of the one God. It's like they're holding the torch above the the ground, the torch of One True God, the name of him, of that God. It's a different approach, but whatever. So I found people also turning back to these religions, while some others saw that they're going to be outdated soon. Religion is going to be old-fashioned. We're going to be religious free. We're going to into a scientific and secular communities where we just live trading with each other culturally and so on. But that's not what's happening. I can see it clearly. The movement is slowly back to that, even among scientists who become fascinated by what they find and suddenly understand their arrogance and the limitedness of their research, even though they try to make it look so wise and so clever and their brains so big, they know they are very limited and many things they don't know. That doesn't mean they're going to give their minds up to the God that wants to put it in a prison. Don't make science. This is what they think, these poor people, even Hawkins and those. I've looked into the universe, but I found no God, he said in this static talk of his. This is, sorry to say, the most stupid thing a scientist can say, because just because you looked, who are you to look, mister? You haven't even reached just the limits of what science have given you in the universe. You don't know every material out there. Your telescope is not big or deep enough. So this is a very arrogant saying, and it's been promoted and promoted and promoted. I don't know why, but yeah, but there are many scientists who can shake their heads of that. You don't need to be a scientist even. You know that if you haven't looked at everything, you can't give a clear answer about it. And you cannot definitively say there isn't, like you can't say there is. Now, these books, they put a claim that there is. I am who I am. I am the God. I am the one, the light, the source. He's telling you that again and again. Nobody's opposing that. But cultures are opposing it in a different way. They say, no, he's one of many gods. This God is one of many gods. Do you mean Apollo? Do you mean Zeus? Do you mean this or that? Ahur Mazd? Do you mean Shiva? And so on. So they oppose it by spreading it out to say, yeah, he is one of the gods, maybe the biggest, but you monotheist has just taken one god and perished the others to fit an organizational need. It's easier, it's simpler than to have 100 gods fighting, quarreling, not at ease with each other, different mentalities and minds and psychology. And the others would reply, well, this is what makes it more exciting. This is what human nature is. We are very different, so are our gods. Argument against argument. And nature religion would say, well, it's all in nature. Nature is the God. We are in her womb, and we cannot grasp more than this. We just have to satisfy the gods of the nature. And so we have the nature religions, trying to sacrifice something for the winds and for the rain and for the earth to give them what they need. And then you have the atheist saying, no, there is no God at all. And we can prove it. Definitely nothing. It's also just a postulate, not a real argument and not definitive, because just because you can't say it or you can oppose it, but you cannot prove it definitely yet. And so you see, I've tried to look deep into many things. I'm not just trying to make my opinion stick. That's the problem with our way of thinking as humans. It's like, I want there to be one God and that he found me and saved me and the others are lost. So I look for things maybe unconsciously that makes that true. I've seen it in many of my religious friends when I talk to them. It's like they've been looking for the places in their text that really just strengthen the way of life they have chosen, their thinking. And say, what about the others? They're trying to, oh no, but they failed. Oh, how do you know you didn't fail? You're reading the book like they are. Yeah, but they're reading it differently. They don't believe the same, and so on and so on. And this is a big jungle-like discussion. I tried it with a lot of my good and nice friends who are religious. You can't get anywhere because people have made up their mind that it is them. So when I talk to a Catholic, he say you have to make up your mind. You can't just stay on with one foot. I was in that church where a nice Catholic priest from Italy met me. Said, "Where are you from?" "I'm from Lebanon." "Oh," said, "Yeah, I'm partly Maronite, so I am like also associated to you, but I'm not decided because I see some truth in everything around me." "Oh, that's not enough," he said. "You have to make up your mind. You have to choose." And this is what I found the most dangerous thing somebody could tell me. It's like he said, go into one of the doors, doesn't matter. Is he saying that? Is he really telling me it doesn't matter? Just just go into one of the ships. Like it's like if you have 7 different ships, that's all taking you to God's mercy or the salvation. It says you don't stay on the shore, jump on one of the ships. But could it be opposite? That everybody is jumping on the ships, leading them to a ill-fate destiny, or a closed-mindedness and wars and struggles. And I standing on the shore, looking at it, saying, "What's going on? Why these battles? Why these problems?" So if you imagine that you are on the shore, cannot decide which ship to choose between nature religion, mythological ways, Eastern religions, monotheistic ones, scientific, atheistic ones, humanistic. What can you do? This is where I am in my life. But I found myself at one certain level that I made up my mind and understood that this is the message I'm getting, that I am following in the steps and the footsteps of Abraham, the one big monotheistic figure who made it all very, very simple, more than these 3 books altogether. He said, "I turned my face towards the one who created everything in total worshipness and submission." That's it. It's the basic I can stick to. The rest, I'm not sure. And if I step on one of these ships, I have been on the ships, of course, different ways many times, especially the monotheistic ships. And I find the same. Many compartments, many groups, many small corners, many this and that, one big dining room. You understand what I mean? I mean, I step on the ship and I find people divided. Some are sitting in this room, some in that room, and everybody wants me to get into their room. So it wasn't enough jumping on the ship. Now you have to choose which room you want to go into. And when you go into that room, I've also been in some of the rooms, I found also the logic is missing. They start debating the text in details and disagree. And so in the room, they have separate fractions. It's a never-ending thing, it seems. And some people wondering about, this is like some kind of symbol I'm giving here. And so I stepped on the ships of the atheist. It was like, it's missing a lot of things. There's no answers, there's nothing. They just drink and do stuff and think that this is what it's all about. So this was the most troublesome period in my life. It was nearly giving me a killing depression. The atheist ship. Imagine that ship without a captain, without skeleton. It's just a ship with nothing. And they praise art, they praise sex, they praise some ideas they want to discuss, and they know it's meaningless, senseless. So whatever they do, it doesn't have any goal, any meaning, anything. It's just a ship in any direction you can go. Just keep turning around and forget about everything. And then the drugs takes over, the drinking takes over, more and more sex takes over, because this is the way we experience our inner passions, because we are not expressing it in higher forms or another forms or more organized forms, as in the monotheistic religions where you can have sex, you can even have some part of drugs. It's not the drugs that kills you or makes you bad, but you can have these things that makes your senses go lighter. And you do it by prayers too, by exhausting yourself, by going pilgrimages and so on. So you have access in a different way in the monotheistic ship to get into your senses and free your inner passions. And then I went on the humanistic and philosophical ship. My God, these philosophers these days, it's not philosophy, it's pettiness of small discussions about what this philosopher wrote, and they keep discussing it into detail, and nobody gets around it and doesn't understand which way it's leading. And those who likes Kant hates Heidegger and Hegel and so on and so on, and say what's going on here? This is not a philosophy for life. This is just a quarrel club of words and hair and pipes in all directions. Just smoke. It's smokescreen. So you see, it's a losing thing to go on these ships, it seems. So I found myself standing there on the shore with the Abraham, saying, "Help me! I don't know what to do." And so I'm looking, and I'm still looking. I haven't decided, but I've decided as much that if I have to choose between atheism and faith, I choose God. I choose the confirmation of a creator than to say there is a nothingness, and behind the nothingness is something that put a nothingness into motion. That contradicts any simple logic mind that anybody could have. And Kant tried to prove against it, the big philosopher. He did a great favor for everybody who wants to think philosophically. He crushed these people with his thinking. And later we had this guy, not Bertrand Russell, but his student, who was called Wittgenstein, who also compromised everything so that mathematics wasn't solving the problem of life and philosophy, even though they tried. Bernard Russell hit a big wall. I know that from the accounts I've been reading about their biographies and philosophy. And so he came to the conclusions to say what one can't understand, one has to be silent about. So we cannot just proclaim things just because we don't understand it. Then better be silent and wait for a sign or for something. So that's again back to the people who want to say there is nothing beyond the universe, it's meaningless, nothingness. You cannot make that confirmative attitude and proclamation without proofs. And if you don't have the proofs, you would better be humble and just shut up. And this is what Wittgenstein had been doing. He shut up and he said, "I'm not going to speak because I don't know. We don't know. We know so little." And even mathematics was filled with paradoxes. And the greatest mathematicians reached the limits of solving some of the most complicated mathematical problems that keeps being mysteries for us in our minds. So if mathematics was the pure logic, as we say, the thing that always can be solved, they hit many, many barriers there. You can go on YouTube and watch some of these mathematical explanations and see how they got some problems that they can say this is an undefined, unsolved problem. Time will maybe solve it. That doesn't mean that mathematics isn't the pure logic, and because we don't understand it doesn't mean it's not valid. But it means we are limited. And so, my God, I'm not going to jump on the ship of the mathematicians, neither the atheists who are trying to proclaim things without real proof. What about Wittgenstein? I could sit there, but I think he's sitting on the shore too, just looking and saying, I'm going to be silent and just look. Besides him is maybe that guy Schopenhauer who says, yeah, mister, you're just here to suffer in your brain and thinking and way of life, and you're going to hit all these animals out there, stupidity and so on, and then you die. That's a good way to say it. And behind him in his illness, you'll get Nietzsche saying, mister, all these people have killed God, even the Christians. They're the first one who said, yes, God is dead, and we will worship him for being dead. And the Jews wanted to kill the God. They killed him too, and so they turned the goodness to curse and so on. That's what he will tell us. We killed the God. We don't want any gods, so we are the gods, but we are not able to be because we don't have the power for it. We don't have the knowledge, understanding for it. So you see, it's helpless. So it's in a way like a hermetic sealed loft we are under in our minds. Our minds haven't been able to get us through to a one definite explanation. Every explanation along the way has reached its limits and failed. Does that also go for these three monotheistic religions? This is what I'm trying to find out. I can see they are resilient, they are the prevailing, they have strong, compelling arguments, a great organizing force in them, they are able to retell their story in a very argumentative way, and they have passionate people fighting for it so it doesn't fall and lack its strength, and it keeps feeding itself on people and their minds and people who follow it, even in hard times. These monotheistic religions are not only manipulative, as people would see them, they are also standing the test of time. Many people are turning away from them, but some people stay fighting for them, for the one God, and then he wins again and again and stays there. So this is what's compelling me and attracting me like a magnet. So I'm standing there now on the shore looking on the ship of monotheism. I do not dare step on it. I tell you, I've been on it many times. I've seen enough of psychopathic traits, narcissistic people, egoistic hidden agendas, and a lot of deception. Everything you can find in movies too, criticizing Christianity and other religions, you find it there. This is true. And some people go there, they get stuck, they can't find their way out or back to the shore. They just accept it and just keep what can you say? Keep interpreting what they see as not true, pushing the facts away, as one can say. But I didn't. I looked at it and said, why are these people so corrupt? How can it be I became so corrupt? I became so self-indulgent. How come this priest or imam or rabbi is like he is? How is this group so hateful that they are ready to kill everyone? Why are those people there thinking they're the only one who are salvaged and laughing a little bit in themselves of the others who are lost because they are the only ones reading things right? My God, what's this arrogance? What's this blindness? They can't step away from it anymore because they're stuck into it. So I'm not gonna go on this ship, but I like that ship and I find it strong, and I find it really affecting everything. It's like what can you say, a carpet of culture that has been leading soldiers into battles and women into what can you say, lifting big burdens, and people into finding inspiration. So they certainly have something above them and in them that's very strong. The same when I look at the ship of the Eastern religions and the nature religions too. A lot of strange practices, a lot of many different gods and small-mindedness, also hatred, unfortunately. It's like everything just makes us hate. Hatred and love. This is what we are seeking and we're wanting. And we're trying to find the God of love and God of hatred and to use it. What about psychology? Well, yeah, Carl Jung, he tried really deeply to solve the mystery in his many accounts. I've not read them all, of course, but I understood as much that he found that the biggest mystery is within us. It's how we view everything and the structure of life and culture around us that makes us view things in a certain way, and that we have a beast inside us. This is also something Nietzsche inspired. We have a beast, but I also found it in the monotheistic religions. It's like psychologically they are trapping the beast. That's what I like about them. Trapping the beast inside the humans that wants to lash out, helped by this external source that they call the devil or the Satan or the fallen one or the one who is against the godly order and realm. But then you ask yourself, why didn't this God do it a little better? Why didn't Judaism just succeed and everybody who wants to be monotheist became Jewish? Why didn't Christianity really just settle things? God, all these quarrels they have and have been having for 2,000 years about the Christ and his nature, killing each other, expelling each other, and even within the same creed that believe in the Catholicism and Protestantism, the idea of God's Son as a real manifest, one true God in nature, human-like and godly-like and all that, part of the Trinity. Even those, I went into their circles. I said, okay, maybe I find peace here because this is not bad. My God, they can't agree on anything, and they hate each other, and they keep dividing each other, and they keep visiting people to turn them away, and so on and so on. And those who doesn't do that, like the best, they they are also lost. They can't answer why it isn't so easy to understand that, and so it becomes a mystery. And the Quranic people, oh my God, yeah, yeah, yeah. Haven't we seen enough of their deeds and actions? They are hiding the lust for power and control behind God's name. And everybody they don't like, they send him or her to have hell in a psychological, very, very psychological, um, big extracted way. Then you tell me, go to the Eastern religions, you'll find peace and inner quality. You know the guy Alan Watts, I've been following for a lot of time, a Sadhguru and so on. I tried really to listen very deeply to them, and yet I haven't found they solved the problem. They keep telling us of the inner tranquility and peace and so on, but it's lacking. And Alan Watts has also been showing us that it's like it's a never-ending story of new layers and new differences and new problems, new things to solve, new changes, never ending. So, and standing on the shore there while these ships are sailing, I don't know, maybe a flood is coming behind me, or a group of animals, or a big wild, zombie or something. So I don't know. Doesn't matter, you would ask me. Does it matter? I believe it matters, because everything in us makes us want to find meaning, organize, find answers. We are driven by that from our inner core. That's why we have these quarrels, because we're driven by that. If you weren't driven by that, everybody would just accept where he or she is. Oh, I'm here working on the farm, okay. You were there working in the factory, okay. Skies above us, yeah, I saw the shooting star. Let's not think more about it, what it means. Let's not explore anything. It will stagnate. We can't. It's in our very deep nature to want to explore, understand, unravel, make things clear, get behind it. We can't stop. And that's how religions, they offer themselves as ways of life and way of thinking, because we are out there. You call it a market. You call it a kind of trades place where you want to find something, somebody is offering something for you to find. And now I've been there, I've shopped, and I've maybe seen things, and I'm not satisfied, am I? And doesn't make sense totally, does it? But I can't stay without it, can I? Because I would be like submissive to something or another. If I'm not submissive to this God, I will be to another. If I don't idolize one kind of creatures who are beyond me in beauty, in strength, in goodness, I will be idolizing something else. I found every human idolizing something out there. And so that's what makes me go back and stand on the doors of these monotheistic religions and in the steps behind Abraham in his shadows, saying that he idolized the greatest force of it all. He made this submission, turned his face and heart and mind to that one organizing force above it all, beyond it all. And that's it. He's not going to settle with anything less. He's not going to preach or pray or idolize any creature lower than that. And I find this message in the three books and the people who represent them, that comes forward from time to time, where they say it's only God you have to worship and love, nothing else, not a person, not a priest, not a beautiful girl, not a money, nothing. Everything is here, will go away. Everything you have can be taken, and you came here with nothing. You are just here with a heart and a mind to find that childish love for that God. Don't get lost, find it, and you're there. What do we do with all your texts then? What do we do with all the commandments? What do we do with all the... And they get in trouble there because they want you also to do all the other stuff, And even those who say, no, just believe, just have the faith. That's all you needed. They won't leave you alone. They will try to put you on the ship and in the compartment or their room or place. I've seen that many times. But maybe that's where I am, that childish submission to that great force and power and source. I turn my face and mind and heart to that one great force beyond it all, like Abraham did. One true God.